What's up, everybody? Big Blue Lifers Podcast, our very first show. I'm Mr. U. Jess is in the house. We are your hosts, and we are excited about being here to talk all Giants. Matter of fact, it's a dream come true for both of us. I guess we can talk about it a little bit here in the beginning of the show. But, man, ever since I started podcasting 5 years ago, one thing I definitely wanted to do was have a place to talk about my favorite team, which is the New York Football Giants. And I do it on other shows. I'm invited on other shows to talk about them specifically. But it's different when you're in your house, and you know that, this is your spot. People can come in, but at the end of the day, this is Giants country. This is Giants territory. Everything we talk about is all blue here. So we both bleed blue, man. But I'm excited. This is a dream come true for me. And I think you were saying the same thing, man. Dream come true for you as well, right?
Yeah, I've been a New York Giants fan, New York sports fan my whole life. Ask any of my buddies about it. I can talk about this team all day, all night, and I'll still have enough room for tomorrow. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, man. Same here, man. We're going to have some fun, man. This is awesome stuff. So this is our first venture out here. We're not new to podcasting. We've both been doing it for a little bit, but doing all Giants all the time is a new one for us. So we ventured out here, but there's a lot going on. As you already know, NFL free agency has kicked off. It's died down quite a bit. The first week was hectic. Our phones were buzzing and vibrating and ringing off of the hook for the first week of free agency. And then after that, next week started kind of going downhill. We were just talking about it on our show, our flagship show T3, that Thursday thing, a little while ago. And we realized that the Giants did what they were supposed to do, even though a lot of the fans, and we want to hear from you guys what you think, how you felt about Giants free agency, that we want your thoughts on that one. But in my opinion, I feel as though the Giants did what they were supposed to do with free agency. In the draft, you get day one starters and whatnot to solidify positions, and in free agency, you plug holes that you have on your lines or in your organization. And we had so many depth issues last year. It was ridiculous. We were short in every way, shape, and form. So the guys that we got, not big names, really. A lot of them. Some of them are, but some of them are not really big names, but they meet the right criteria. They can play in multiple positions. They satisfy depth needs that we have. So I'm excited, man. But overall, free agency for you, I know that there's one guy that went to a different team that you want to get into. I want to let you do that real quick. But overall, how you feel about free agency as far as Giants go? How did we do in your opinion so far?
Yeah, I definitely give this free agency a B+. Only reason I can't quite give it an A is because I would have loved to see them really go after a right guard. And I think we're going to talk about that a little bit more later in the pod. But, all we did was for the guard position was re-sign Stinney, re-sign Roden. But I would have liked us to go after Will Freeze, Tevin Jenkins. Both are now signed. Mekhi Becton even, he signed elsewhere. I think
who's
really
left?
The only main names left at that position
are anybody left?
Former Giants in Zeitler and Hernandez. But I love the Holland sign. I love the Debo signing. Like you said, we addressed a lot of depth concerns, so hopefully that won't be an issue moving forward. But overall, I think this is mostly positive. Shane kind of did what he said he was going to do. He wasn't going to go out and just spend all of the money, backload all these contracts, essentially kind of, screw over possibly the next GM, kind of like Gettleman did incidentally to him. So we just got to get a quarterback up or two up in here. So, we'll have to see where they go with that. But that'll be another thing we're getting into. So
yeah, I think we did pretty decent considering. I mean, a lot of these names, the guys over there. I mean, GVR, man. I mean, I don't have a problem with having brought him back. I mean, he missed a snap last season, and the man plays 4 different positions on the line. I mean, honestly, with the depth issue we had last year, and I'll be honest, I probably would say 2023 as well. We had depth issues then too. To have a guy that plays all the snaps and he can play multiple positions on the line when you need it. 4 out of 5 positions on the line. That man's he's gold for us. So, and we didn't pay him a lot to even bring him back. So, that's totally fine, man. I'm glad to have the veteran back in there. I mean, he's had multiple starts at center and right guard and left guard, so he can do a lot of things there. I do have some guard concerns that I thought we were deal with, like you said, in free agency. I didn't know that Zeitler was still out there. I thought he got picked up. So that's good. So if Zeitler's available, and you name somebody else as well, but we could use some help there.
Zeitler been signed? I didn't think I saw anybody signed him. I might have missed that. No, he went to the Titans. That's my bad.
But also, so who's the other guy you named?
The only real name left is Will Hernandez, I believe.
Wow. I liked it when he first came to us, but I guess I don't know.
I would not mind bringing Will Hernandez back. Van Roden,
break that down for me. Tell me why. Because fans are going to have our heads even talking about this. So tell me why. Tell me why you want to bring him back.
Like most Giants players, he left and got better. So theoretically, we're getting this improved version of them.
Hey, that's the truth.
I mean, quite honestly, and I think you and I have agreed about this on one of the previous pods that we did talking about the Giants on some other shows. The Giants' offensive line, when it was healthy with the new pieces, played well. It wasn't, some top 10 offensive line, but overall, it was an average to above average offensive line, which is better than anything the Giants have had really for the last, 10 years, 13 years. You got to go maybe back to 2010, 2011 for the last truly good Giants offensive line. If you want to go even to get to an elite group, you have to go back to that 07, 08 unit. But I mean, you and I agree. Football is won in the trenches. It doesn't matter if you have Patrick Mahomes back there, if he's getting hit every play. A lot of people mocked that comment by Joe Shane when he said that on Hard Knocks. Not even Patrick Mahomes could win behind this offensive line. Well, look at what happened to the Chiefs and Mahomes when he encountered a great defensive line in the Super Bowl. We saw that what happened to him in 2021. I'm not saying the Giants should be one of those teams. If you have an option to draft Cam Ward at 3 or something, you pass on that. That's not what I'm saying. But, if we can bring in Will Hernandez for 2 years, 8 to 10 mil per, not that much guaranteed, I'm more than willing to take a flyer on him.
Okay. I got another name to drop on this because a lot of what you said, I wish I could remember all you said. I want to get into several things that you said there. Regarding Joe Shane and just, a couple of other points. But Brandon Scherfer's name that I pulled up today for another show, for our show. He was with the Jaguars last, was with the, what they call the Commanders then, or what they call the Redskins then, not even sure now. But
Commanders, I think.
Okay,
he's been on the Jags, he's been on the Commanders.
Yeah, he started with the Commanders. I think they drafted him. And then the Jags. Had a lot of injuries. He's a guy that when he came out in the draft, he's somebody that I wanted then. I think we had a guard need way back when he came out. So I kind of wanted him, but the Commanders snagged him first. That's our rival. So I was really ticked off about that one. But, I mean, he's a top 5 pick. Definitely has all the potential. Not a whole bunch of good looks recently, but still capable as a starter. Think we can do worse at guard. I know that GVR can play guard, but I don't think the Giants want him to. At least not the guard position on the right side. I think they want somebody else there. And honestly, I'm totally out on the whole Evan Neal experiment. I'm sorry. After a certain amount of time, it's really hard to keep on holding out hope for this. I think it was just we missed on this one. We whiffed on this one.
Oh yeah, one of the biggest draft busts I've ever seen.
I can't imagine what he can do to help. No, on one of our other shows.
They're saying now they're going to move him to guard. Is it too little, too late?
Yes, it is too little, too late. How many years are we going to do this? Come on, we're done. This is not working. He probably go somewhere else and light it up, and that's fine. Go right ahead, but it's not working with us. We got to do something else. So besides Brandon Scherf, I don't know who else is left at guard. I'm sitting there trying to push through it. I think Aaron Banks got signed with the Packers, so he's already off of the table. I don't know who's left out there, so I'm almost positive that we're going to get somebody in the draft, and we can get into that at some point if we have time in this episode today, because there's a lot of guys that are guards that I happen to love. A couple of guys that play guard and tackle I would love to have, and they're within range for us, providing we do things the right way with the first round. But beside Brandon Scherf and I don't know who's left. Those
are the
weird.
two. I didn't even think of Scherf. I didn't even realize he was still available.
Yes, he's just sitting there, and I'm almost positive the Giants probably didn't give him a call.
No. I think
why not?
I think the only move outside of maybe some like other 1 year, $1.2 million like special teams guy they're gonna make. I think the only notable move the Giants are gonna make in free agency moving forward is who they end up bringing in for quarterback. Be it Rodgers, Wilson, Winston, Flacco. Trade for Cousins, that's still on the table. The Falcons seem more than happy to get rid of him. Maybe take a flyer. Do they do it for Joe Milton with the Patriots? That could be interesting. But I don't know what kind of draft capital would be asked from the Giants for either the Cousins or Milton.
Milton, the Patriots, they probably gonna try to get a 3 out of it. But I don't really think that. I think if we offer a 4, I think they should take it. Now he played at Michigan, so I'm already a fan of his. I like him. Nobody I talk to likes him and thinks he can do anything. They say he got an arm, but that's it. I've seen other stuff that was better than that. However, I get where he was drafted, and I get the whole draft capital and all that kind of stuff, and I get it. But if we offer anything, it needs to be a 4. I don't think we should offer a 3, not in this draft, because we need too many things. Again, I can talk about guard just now. If Will Hernandez is not coming back, which is a great idea, in everything past rushing grade and one block grade, he's better than GVR. So it'll be an upgrade for us to have both of them on the roster. But I haven't heard one peep about the Giants looking at Will Hernandez or Brandon Scherf. Maybe I'm missing it, but I've been keeping up with the stuff every day throughout the day. I haven't heard one peep in that direction. So we'll see what it is. But I got a lot of questions I want to talk about tonight as we get into talk about their cap space, what kind of room they got left, who's on the roster, and how it's looking right now with the new additions. So I'm going to get into all that kind of stuff and just have some fun with this. But I want to ask you this, just is there any conceivable way this year that Shane can save his job? Is there anything that he can do to save his job? I feel like the fans have already kind of decided that he's just like a bust. He's done too many bad things, and the Saquon thing can't seem to get away from it. One of the worst scenarios I could think of is if he won the Super Bowl. Never thought it was going to happen. I really didn't at all. But when that happened, that was like, now that Hard Knocks piece is going to be constantly here. Like, this is part of your legacy now. Now, no matter what you do, unless you win a Super Bowl, they're going to say, you know what? Remember this? A guy that only wanted $2 million more than what you offered him. He wanted to stay here, and you let him out of the building. Can he save his job by doing anything this year? It's anything he can do. I'm pessimistic. That's why I'm asking you.
That's a tough one. Because I think first things first, the Giants have to make very clear, tangible improvement on offense. I think if they are going to lose, they better be losing like 31-28 kind of games.
They did that last year, man.
No,
they did that last year.
Last year, I mean, they lost to the Bengals like what, 10-7. They were barely.
They lost games by 5 points or less almost every game. That was so nerve-wracking to me.
They got they had a fair share of absolute beatdowns. Ravens game, Atlanta game, They some of the games look closer because they got some garbage time touchdowns.
That's fair.
But they were 31st, I believe, in scoring, if not dead last. But
it was 31st.
Yeah, it was 31st. So they need to be able to be, at the very least, middle of the pack, averaging over 20. And I think that has to be like the absolute baseline. How many wins they have? I mean, it's kind of hard to say because, the Giants were arguably the worst team in all of football last year. I know they don't have the first overall pick to show it, but I think there's a very real case that they were the worst team in football. But now we're entering this next season with the hardest schedule, I believe it was hardest strength of schedule based on last year in the entire league. I don't even understand how that happens. Just really bad luck with how that the non-divisions and the AFC, NFC crossover happened there for the scheduling. But if the Giants can get to 8 wins at least, I don't think they need to make the playoffs, but I think they need to be competitive. They need to be fighting for, at the very least, that final wild card spot going in down the stretch. If Shane wants to, and this draft class has to hit. He can't, have a 2022, which I think, again, when I say it's underrated, that doesn't mean I think it's good. I just think people call it as bad as 2021. And now that Azeez Ojulari left for the Eagles, we don't even have a single player from that draft class left on the roster. And I'm pretty sure at least half that draft class isn't even in the league anymore. So he needs to have another 2024 level draft. The team has to take some major steps forward. I think we're going to need to see that Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland in particular are balling out. And if all the stars align, I think he lives to see 2026. But wow. I think the issue is I don't see it happening. I don't see the stars aligning. I think the schedule is going to be too difficult. I think there's going to be too many hurdles for them to overcome. And I just don't see it happening. What about you? What do you think? Do you think that's the right area there, that ballpark?
Yeah. I feel the same way about that part of it. I've always felt like if we got middle of the road and you were at around 500, that was better than what we were looking at. And I've talked about this on multiple shows. I went ahead and crunched the numbers. They had 9 or 10 games. I always share this because not that I'm proud of it. I'm just like, it was so close. 9 or 10 games that we lost by 5 points or less. If you go back and look at it, you'll see it. I think it was not. I keep getting mixed up between 9 or 10 games. I think it was like 9 or 10 games. Might be 9 games. 5 points or less. A competent quarterback, we win those games. And we're talking about this team being maybe still having the number 3, but we talk about being actually in some kind of hunt. At least get a wild card or at least be competitive in that division that was tough to begin with. So we're probably not winning that anyway, but I might still be in the cellar, but you have 9 or 10 wins under your belt. And for me, I'm like, I'm trying to figure out who Joe Shane is. I don't know if I really got a handle on that. I know that him and Daboll, I think they both came from Buffalo, I think. Mm-hmm. And Daboll was, early on was considered a quarterback whisperer somehow. I don't know how that.
A lot of credit for Josh Allen's development.
Okay. I think the same time that he was there, Josh was very, very erratic. When Daboll was there,
when Daboll was there, Josh started bad and then got better every year with Daboll.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let you continue before I follow up.
No, that's fine. That's totally fair. That's good. So I'm trying to just figure out who they are in this because this is the kind of season that we really. You might think you already know, but to be honest, I'm not really sure who they are. I feel like this year is going to tell me that, especially if the schedule is going to be as rough as you're saying it's going to be. We're going to find out what these guys can do in the midst of adversity. There were some areas where Daboll looked kind of rough a couple of years and so back since the 2022 season. As far as Joe Shane goes, like you said, those drafts got a hit. I mean, he had a good year considered because of the guys and how they developed. Guys like Tyler Nubin and these guys how they developed. I mean, he did good in that regard, but he had to have a stellar draft this time around. He has to. They got 8 picks so far. I don't know whether they're going to get any more. They're going to draft backwards or not, draft down. But they got to do some big things here because we talking about going into 13, 14 years of not being competitive. That's for me. I've been watching the Giants since I was in diapers. I mean, quite literally, And for me, I'm like, and that was a long time ago, Jack. If you know my age, you know how long ago that was. That was a long time ago. To see them be on the skids like this, I can go back in the archives and look at all of the games from the 70s. I don't think they've ever been in the skids this long. I could be wrong, but I don't recall that. I periodically go back and look at this kind of stuff sometimes. They might have a 10-5, a 7-9 season, and they keep bouncing up and down, but they never be on a 13, 14 year skid. This is absolutely unconscionable. And I can't explain why this is happening. We can't say because we don't have Eli. We can't do any of that stuff. Those are not valid excuses to have a team that does not compete at all for almost a decade and a half. So everybody they're probably going to come on here. If we ever go live, they're probably going to come on here or have the comments about how we should tank and try to get Arch Manning. I can't stomach that idea. You're talking about going 15 years not being competitive, hoping that 16 years is going to be the one that hits. That's a gambler's philosophy. That hasn't got us anywhere to try to gamble. That's not going to help us. We need to start winning now and first of all playing with heart, not quitting on plays and stuff, and having somebody who we want to play for. So if they don't like Daboll, I wouldn't know now. But if you like him and you think he's the coach for the future, then play your heart out, play your butt off for him. Because the thing that you and I love about Giants football the most that got us into this, if I'll be doing a podcast right now, we haven't seen that in a long time. Do you agree?
Oh,
the hard note, smash mouth football. We haven't seen that in a long time. And we just talked about it on another show on our C3. We just discussed it. The not having an identity, that's what's killing us. You don't know who you want to be. At least decide if you're going to win by having an outstanding defense and just running over folks, kind of like how we used to, then do that. We won Super Bowls by 3 points against an undefeated juggernaut. How do we do that? A lot of great things happen on offense. A lot of great things happen on offense. A lot of incredible catches by Manningham and Tyree. I mean, yeah, but the defense, that's what happened. How can you get away from that? Seeing guys like Strahan and Taylor and Banks, how do you get away from that when you know that's the identity of this city along with this team? We haven't seen it. Are we getting closer right now? You tell me. Maybe, but that's who we are, and we just got away from that. What do you think?
I mean, I 100% agree that we've kind of gotten away from our identity. I remember growing up watching where even though we had Eli and Plax and Shockey for a while there, what got me into it was Tiki and then the duo of Bradshaw and Jacobs.
Yeah, Thunder and Lightning, baby.
Mm-hmm. Running behind that line with, what was it, O'Hara, Snead, who else was on that unit?
O'Hara, Snead.
They had their photo in Sports Illustrated. How often does a unit of offensive linemen get their photo in Sports Illustrated?
I think never.
Deal, I think, was on that line.
He was
a little later, and then a little after that, we ended up getting what was it? Richburg. He was all right.
Yeah, wasn't my favorite, but
we got away from all that. We got away from the units that had Strahan, OC, Tuck, Pierre Paul. Even when we had Vernon and Snacks on that defensive line in 2016, that defense was crazy. Landon Collins, second place for DPOY that year, lost it to Mac. We've gotten away from all that. But at the same time, like the Giants have felt in the past couple of years, and I think 2023, like people act like that was like some heinous year. We were a correctly called game against Buffalo, a healthy kicker against the Jets, and then a Saquon drop 2-point conversion away from beating the Bills, Jets, and Rams and being the 7th seed in the playoffs. Because we would have had the tiebreaker over the Rams and the Packers that year. In 2023 with Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito. So when we talk about like
what does that tell you though? What does that indicate? What does that tell you?
We are a good quarter. We are closer than people think, but we also feel so far away. Because I think I'm so conflicted on what I want from this team moving. I want to be competitive, but I don't want to be stuck in that 7-10, 8-9 purgatory area. So, I mean,
QB purgatory. Oh man,
so like if
it's a real thing.
We're be talking a bit about this. Like, do you think the Giants should sell the farm and try to trade up to 1? Like, because I think Cam Ward is, in my opinion, the clear best quarterback in this class. I think he would have been like QB 5 or 6 last year. But at the same time, like when people look back at 2023 and everybody talks about, it cost us Caleb, cost us Daniels, cost us Drake May, that meaningless 3-game win streak. People are acting like we won the last 3 games of the season. Like when we beat the Colts in, what was it, the second to last game or whatever? This year, I think it was
Week 17, yeah. Week 17.
So this past year, when we beat the Colts in the second to last game, that truly was in my opinion, a meaningless win. I was happy to see it. I love watching the Giants win, but deep down I knew that's going to hurt us. That is going to hurt us. But when what was it, like the Packers, I think we beat Washington in that little stretch. And who was the third team that we beat? The Patriots. We beat the Patriots. Those were like more middle of the season. Like it wasn't like this team was even eliminated from the playoffs fully when they went on that win streak. And then we were darn close to beating the Rams. We were darn close to beating the Bills. We were darn close to beating the Jets. And all of a sudden, we would have been like 9-8 and in the playoffs for back-to-back seasons. So I think a lot of the issue was that for Shane and this regime, that 2022 season with a lot of those miracle victories where the defense forced so many turnovers, a lot of that, I think they got ahead of their skis. I think they thought Dable, was truly this magician. I think they were kind of in this really terrible situation where because they didn't pick up DJ's 5th year, they had to make a choice between franchising him or Saquon. And they knew if they franchised DJ, they would have had no money to make any moves in free agency. So they were like, okay, we're going to kind of do this essentially 2-year deal with DJ. We're going to franchise tag Saquon, see if we can bring him back. And that just ticks Saquon off. I think after they franchise tagged him, I don't think he wanted to come back. And now we're in the situation where we have to make that choice. Do we go aggressive and make a move up to 1? Do we just sit there and hope Cam Ward falls to us because the 2 teams ahead of us go Carter, Hunter, Carter? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we make that move in the draft, or we just sit there, take BPA, take Shador if he's there? God forbid.
That's my next question. That's my next question. Do we take a quarterback at 3? Do we take Cam Ward if he falls to us? If he falls to us, I'm going to say yes, we should take him. I know that people are saying, "Oh, these guys are not, world moving quarterbacks." Honestly, man, if I look at free agency, just free agency alone, this past free agency, look at all the quarterbacks. Look it up. Look at all the quarterbacks that got signed. Not a lot of them were world beaters at all. I mean, it's like a long list of quarterbacks. I mean, that shouldn't be a requirement because this whole elite conversation, I try to stay away from it, especially on social media. I'm like, this is not a real conversation. The elite thing is all subjective. You almost decide who's elite and who's not. Because Brady can have a bad year. Like he's had a bad year with the Bucks throwing wise, and he was still considered elite. How do you do that? So for me, I'm like, if Cam Ward is sitting there, obviously it's a no-brainer. It's probably the easiest decision that we make. It's the easiest card up to the podium that we can make during the draft. Easy. If he's not there, we got to ask ourselves, okay, you know what? What are we going to do? What we're doing now with this whole Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers thing, and we can get into that too. I'm not sure how that's going. We look like we're desperate. We're not being aggressive, and that can come back to bite us. In this case, in this draft, we need to be aggressive about what we want, but I can't see us going to 1 because the draft capital we needed so much. There's some way, in some places, we need to be trading back. In some cases, we need more bodies than what we have right now. UDFA is always an option. You might find a whole bunch of guys that didn't get drafted that are studs. It happens every year. You can almost tell time by it. But I don't want to move. I don't want to move up to 1 to answer that first part of your question. I don't want to do that. I think we should stand pat at 3 because we can get some kind of a potentially game-changing talent at 3. If Shador is there, I've been back and forth on this the whole off season, but Mel Kiper's kind of helped me out a little bit with this with his most recent video. He kind of spoke to me about what tape says because that's what I care about. I don't care what media says about that. What does the tape say? And if you look at the situation he had in Colorado with the O-line and how he adjusted to that, I think he did a darn fantastic job based on not having an O-line and having essentially one guy to throw to. You could throw to Jimmy Horn Jr. too, but it was very rare. Travis Hunter was getting all of the looks. You know what I'm saying? And he was upright. He was mobile. He was able to escape. If he falls to us, we're not in bad shape. We're not going to be destitute if he falls to us. I think he can help us. How long he helps us? Is he a 15-year quarterback with the Giants? I don't know that. But he would definitely help us without question. So I would think about that kind of stuff. The idea about taking somebody else as a non-quarterback, the option is there. We got 2 guys that could be considered generational talents, is the word they use nowadays, I think, with Carter and Hunter. I don't know what happens at quarterback in that scenario because I don't think Jackson Dawson's going to be sitting there in the second round, maybe. But I don't, right now, the way things are going, what I'm hearing, I don't see it. And the Steelers come out, I think the Steelers are at 15 or 16, I think it is. I'll double check that, but I think they're at, no, they're not even there. They're even lower than that. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, 21. Okay. If they're at 21 and Jackson Dart hasn't been picked, I think they'll take that man at 21. And we won't have him. So we got to figure out what are you doing at quarterback if Dart is your guy and you don't want Ward or Sanders. So this is a tough question, brother. I doubt I even answered it well. But to me, it's Ward first. Sanders second if it's possible. If the Browns take Sanders, but you know what? Then you got a choice. Either you take Carter or Hunter, or you drop down. Drop down all the way to the bottom of the first round and grab Dart. And then go on from there with your extra picks. I like him that much to take him, but I can't take him at 3.
Yeah, if they take Milroe or Dart at 3, I'm going to just I'm going to lose my darn mind there. Like
it's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. Milroe is not going at no 3. It's not going to happen.
That's what people were saying about DJ. My buddy has this video of me when they drafted DJ, and I lost my mind because I'm like, the pass rusher world. Josh Hines Allen was right there. I was high on Was that the draft where it was Isaiah Simmons 2019?
Simmons.
Or was it Roquan Smith? There was a linebacker that I was really high on. 2019.
I'm gonna pull it up because I want to know now too.
I know we passed on Josh Hines Allen. That was my number one guy there.
Yeah, that's not all we passed on.
We still got Dex. We still got Dex in that draft, but then we also traded back up for DeAndre Baker, and that was a mess. But I think I agree with you. Number one choice would be Ward. I'd be fine with Shador if he's there. Don't want to trade up for either of these guys. If it goes Ward, Sanders 1-2, I don't know. I do not know who I would want between Carter, Hunter, or trading back, because I do think a team would give up a lot for either of these two guys. And that amount of, I think the amount of draft capital we could get would be invaluable, but so would having a game changer. But with Paulson and Debo, now kind of our CB1, I don't know where Travis Hunter would fit. Unless we've given up on Banks. If we've given up on Banks and are fine moving down Banks down to CB 4 or 5, depending on how you feel about Flott.
I'm not really a fan.
If you are fine with that as the Giants, again, I am more than okay with them being like, it was a mistake. We got to move on. We got to improve. We can't be tied to it forever. We got to just take him because he's the best player available. And then he'll come in for packages on offense. I'm more than happy with that strategy. With Abdul Carter, having a rotation of him, Kayvon, and Burns on the outside would be amazing. My biggest issue with Abdul Carter, and this is why I don't think I could be a GM, he is such a massive Eagles fan. I am genuinely terrified we're going to take this generational prospect out of Penn State University in the top 5, who then will put on a few great years for us, but ultimately leave us to go to the Eagles, where he will then immediately flourish and win a Super Bowl after somehow not living up to his full potential on the New York Giants. And we look like idiots, and we are just repeating the cycle. I could not handle that emotionally.
You're already not handling it right now.
In case you couldn't tell, I'm still a little salty about how things played out.
I can see it. I was going to actually talk about Aziz, but I changed my mind because you're already about to implode. So,
oh my God!
No.
Now going to be completely healthy.
No. I need you to stay sane, Jess. So we're not going to talk about Ojolari today.
Let's skip that. But in all seriousness, I truly do think that if I think either take Carter, take Hunter, or trade back and see. And this is a guy I haven't heard a lot of people talking about the Giants going after. Go after maybe like trade back depending on how far you go. If he's there, Tim McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona. He's 6'4", big body, great hands. You put him on the outside, opposite Malik Neighbors. I think that could be injured. That could be like Chase and Higgins in Cincinnati. You got your all-around superstar. You got your big body who could be a 1 on other teams. I like Tim McMillan. He's a much better game speed than his combine. Or he didn't have the combine. He did it at the pro day, but he still hit a sub 4.5. I think that could be real interesting.
This is a strange scenario to be in, man. But the one thing about this, and I'm hoping this is going to be a good thing. I'm a plug another show while I'm on this podcast because I think it's relevant. But on the first round of the draft, you know, and I shared it on social media. We're going to be doing on T3 I guess hopefully our first annual live draft special for the entire first round. We're going to get on about 7:45 p.m., 7:50, and stay on for the entire first round. People are going to be in the live chat, in studio, the whole thing. I'm sitting here watching this play out, and my face is going to be here for everybody to see my reaction. I'm not sure that's a good thing because in some ways, this is kind of stressful. Because if Ward and Sanders go 1 and 2, which could conceivably happen, Denver, I just talked about it on the other show. Denver brought in they got Chubb and they brought in J.K. Dobbins. So they're gonna have to address that quarterback situation at some point in time.
Cleveland
and I don't know
Kevin Jenkins to replace Zeitler.
Yeah, I saw that and I hate it. I thought we would get a chance to get him. So yeah, I wasn't thrilled with that one at all. But at quarterback though, Kenny Pickett is the only option. Yeah, maybe he can try to fight to be that QB1, but to be real about it, he's battling against himself because Watson's not going to be playing. So they're definitely going to try to do something at quarterback because they have to. When they do it, it's a whole different story. I mean, they can wait for Will Howard, get the hometown boy, so to speak, play at Ohio State. They can do that. They can wait that long and probably grab him, and it'll be fine. Nobody's going to care. But if they decide to get Sanders, we're sitting here looking at Hunter or Sanders. It should be easy. BPA, right? All the needs that we have. Any one of these guys would be helpful. But I find that scenario stressful. I don't know why. That's stressful to me. I'm like, I got to pick between these two guys or hit my third option or trade back. This is stressful. I mean, because they can not pick either one and pick Mason Graham. Like, would you do that though? I don't think you would. Would you pick Ted instead of Carter? And I mean, because trading back, that only works if you're in the right place where Ted's going to be at. If you trade back to 10, I don't think Ted's going to be there.
No, so I don't. I think Ted. The interesting thing would be if Ward goes 1, Sanders goes 2. I think we could afford to trade back to 6, maybe 7, and still
Las
get
Vegas?
Ted. Yeah, with the Raiders.
What do we get?
They'll draft Hunter at 3, and then I think Carter would then go 4 to the Patriots. I think he would be too good to pass up for them.
Don't forget about Jacksonville. They're sitting at 5. What are they doing?
I think they're gonna go either Mason Graham. I think they could go offensive lineman, or maybe the Patriots go offensive line. Just be like, look, we need to protect May. We need to protect him. You know, we got to do what the Chargers did. You just take the best offensive lineman, be that Campbell, Banks. What's his face out of Missouri, whose name I can't pronounce if I'm not looking at it, and I'm not looking at it right now. Membo.
Oh, you talking about Jonah?
No. Jonah's out of Arizona. The massive behemoth guy out of Arizona. Jonah. I
pronounced it right a few times, but then nah. Sabanea, perhaps. 6'4", 324. Sabanea.
Yeah, no, that's
Arizona.
He's a tackle out of Arizona. I'm talking about Armand Membo. I had Membo. Right?
Oh, Membo. Okay.
His first name.
Okay.
Armand Membo. Maybe they go with one of him, Campbell or Banks. But I think the Giants have been drafting for needs so much that it's gotten in the way. I think they just need to stay pat at 3 and take BPA. The worst case is like the reason I don't fault the Giants, like everybody gets on them about taking Kayvon and Neal. Those were consensus blue chip guys coming out of 2022. And Kayvon hasn't lived up to the hype, but he hasn't been bad. Neal's been horrific. Neal has been horrific. But I don't fault them for taking him. That was like a few days before the draft. Neal was being discussed as, could Jacksonville take him at 1? Like, and if you're in that discussion and you fall to 7, I don't blame the team that took him. Sure, it sucks. And obviously, I'm going to give the Giants a little more leeway with something like that than I would another team. But I think that's a fair assessment. Like, look, he was a consensus guy. He just busted. He just didn't work out. And I don't. And if that's the case with Hunter or Carter, and you take them and they're just not good, I can live with that. Like, I won't be happy.
Are you sure?
I won't be happy about it, certainly. And then obviously you'll look back and be like, oh, why didn't we trade back and take James Pierce, who, has been phenomenal on the Bucks or something like that, whatever. But at the end of the day, we all know what the conversation is going into the draft. And if a team is like, I'm just going to – and I think the Giants just have to stay pat at 3 and either take Sanders, take Ward, or just take Carter or Hunter. I think at the end of the day, they have to do that.
I gotta bring up a couple of things. One of these is something that I would like us to talk about, even if it's the next episode. So jot it down for me, help me stay accountable on this one. Take notes on this one for me. I want to talk about that draft that DJ was in. Because when you look in the first round and you look at the whole first round, all the way down after DJ got picked at 6 out of Duke, we got to talk about that. Because in hindsight, of course, we didn't know what was going to happen. Josh Allen was there right behind at 7. Would have been a fine pick. Linebackers area that we could have definitely used help at. Jonah Williams has been up and down out of Alabama with the Bengals. And now he was a free agent, and he got picked up with the New England, I think it was. But beside that, names like Christian Wilkins, great player, but often injured in Miami. Mm-hmm. If you go down the list, Brian Burns is there out of Florida State, went to the Panthers. Obviously, we got him in a trade recently. Dexter Lawrence, we got him at 17. The list and the options aren't great. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, you know what? Maybe we should have got out of the first round, period. You know what I'm saying? Because you got guys like Josh Jacobs was there, which is definitely a fantastic running back. But obviously, you're getting down to DeAndre Baker, who we did pick at 30, N'Keal Harry, and Marquise Brown. I'm like, this wasn't a great first round, period.
Bradbury could have been a nice pickup for us.
Maybe
he would have been phenomenal.
He suffered a lot of injuries recently. I mean, he's on a new team now as of a couple of days ago, but there was a lot of injuries going on. I mean, this is none of this stuff is a home run unless you want to say Josh Jacobs or Josh Allen. So this was a horrible first round in comparison to other ones. It's not good.
In terms of guys after Daniel Jones.
Yeah. This is not beautiful. So
this draft. There's a lot to talk about there.
Yeah, I want us to do that on another episode, maybe the next one. But I put it up for a reason, because now we're sitting here, and you mentioned Ted, and I like him, but we have a problem here. If Ted's somebody that we like, I agree with you on the BPA approach. I think we should do that for the entire draft. That's what I think we should do. I think we should go BPA for the entire draft, and we just lean on UDFA and some guys that are hungry who didn't get picked, and staff our team. Get them down to 53 and go out here and just play ball, hard nose, smash mouth football like we know how to do, and just go for it. However, we got a problem if Ted's on our mind. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We're at 3 right now. If we decide to trade back, we're going to run into a lot of problems because of some teams that would, after Carter and Hunter are gone, they're going to have eyes on him immediately. It can happen. It could potentially happen at Jacksonville. It could potentially happen in Las Vegas with Pete Carroll there now, and Geno Smith being the big body to throw to. It can happen with the Jets because they're still trying to do some things offensively, and they have to now that Justin Fields is there. Carolina, if you look at their depth chart, you'll see what I mean. Besides Chuba Hubbard, that's pretty much it. New Orleans, they were 5-12 last year. And they definitely could use help on offense because Derek Hawkins used all the help he can get. He doesn't have Michael Thomas anymore. He can't guard Mike no more. Chicago at 10. Definitely Keenan Allen is going. That was safety valve, I guess you could say. The wide receiver 3, the veteran, that's gone. 11, San Francisco. They get all the talent out of there. Even rumored that Ayuk is up for a trade now. I'm like, wow. 12, Dallas. That's not getting past 12. I don't care what's going on. Because John T. probably can go earlier than 12 unless Dallas decide to move up. So this is about 7, 8 teams there that would take McMillan in a heartbeat. We got to be in the right spot to trade back.
Do you think the Giants would even truly consider trading back? Like,
I don't know.
I see them. First of all, the only way I see them trading out of the top 10 is if they're getting like a 1-2 this year, a 1-2 next year kind of crazy deal. Because again, like it's not like they're picking at 7 right now. They're picking at 3. That's going to be a haul that someone would have to. And if you're trade, first of all, I don't think Ted is worth a top 3. I don't even know if he's worth a top 5 pick. I mean, he's not the quality of prospect that Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors were coming out last year. He's a big body, 6'4" guy. He's great at jump balls. Steve Smith just posted his review. He's not super solid on him. He thinks Tet leaves some plays out on the field, but I like what he can do. I like the size. I think he'd be a great guy to pair with Neighbors, just because that's something we've been missing for a while. We've been missing that kind of big body, go up and get it, Plaxico Burris kind of guy, on the outside there.
Oh, man. This show's not long enough for what I want to talk about.
Going out at night. But, all things considered, again, I think at the end of the day, the Giants need to sit there and be like, Ward or Sanders if they fall, or Carter or Hunter. I think those are the only 4 guys the Giants should truly be considering right now.
Wait. Okay, you're talking about at 3, right?
At 3. If they stay at 3, those are the only 4 guys I think they should.
Let me hit you with some names. I just want you to just think about it, and we can kind of after this we can kind of hit one last topic, and then we can go ahead and close the show out. Because we got so much that we can talk about. That's why I'm like, we don't have enough show. That's a good problem to have. And now we got more stuff to talk about on the next show. I'm gonna say these names to you, and just think about this, because this will require the Giants to trade back. But think about how awesome this would be.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Warren from Penn State, 104 receptions, 1,233 yards, 8 touchdowns. Think about that. Will Johnson comes in and takes the CB1 job, which is a great scenario. I think he's the best cornerback in the draft, in my personal opinion. He's from Michigan, so I'm a little bit biased. But anyway, Jaylon Walker plays linebacker and edge rusher, man. 6.5 sacks. I mean, just those. I didn't talk about Mike Hill Williams. I didn't even get into that stuff yet. Just think about that. Mike Green from Marshall. My God, there's so much talent sitting at the back of this draft.
I think
if we get down there and if we get in those 3 guys, nobody's giving us less than an A grade. If we get in those 3 guys that I named first, there's no way in the world.
Here's my response to that.
Here we
Tyler
go.
Warren, again, he's one of those guys where I like Theo Johnson. I did. I loved that pick. I wanted the Giants to take him. Theo was one of those my guys in the mid rounds I had last year. And we saw flashes of truly what he could do, working up the seams, big body, go up, get it. I liked what I saw from him. Sadly, he got injured. Story of being a Giants fan. Will Johnson, I agree with. I don't know if I truly love him for the scheme. We're going to potentially be running as more press man. His arm length, his arms are a little short to truly be doing that at the NFL level. Could they be putting him in a little more off man instead of full on press? Run some more complicated coverages. But then guys like I don't remember where he fell. Jalen Walker, guys like Walker, Mikael Williams, Mike Green. But I do remember this. Of all pass rushers in the country last year, against true pass set snaps, meaning it was a true drop back. It wasn't a screen. It wasn't some halfback or wide receiver screen. It wasn't even play action. Just guy drops back into coverage. Abdul Carter, I think, was third in the nation in pass rush win rate. Third in the entire country. That is crazy.
Oh,
that's why I'm thinking, like, again, unless they get some god tier package, 1, 2, 3.
I can't even imagine what that is.
Next year, kind of trade.
I can't even imagine what that is. Who would do that? I can't even imagine.
I can't imagine exactly. That's my like. Unless it's like, again, the Raiders want to trade us a 1 and a 2 this year, and then a 2 next year, and a third next year, something, like that, where we're not trading back too far, where we're only dropping down a few spots, and even then, one of those guys might fall to us, because if
Tom Brady trying to help us.
Look, we got to prioritize protecting Trevor Lawrence or get him another weapon, and then.
Tom Brady trying to help us win, man. Tom Brady trying to help us win nothing.
No, that's my point. But
he's not trying to help us win anything.
I really want Travis Hunter.
You want him more than Abdul Carter, though?
I want Travis Hunter, and then
more than Abdul Carter.
Yeah, like imagine this scenario. Like this would be a dream come true for me.
Okay.
We're sitting there at 3. Joe Shane's about to make the pick. Gets a phone call. It's the Raiders. Raiders like, hey, we'll give you our first this year, our second this year, our second next year, and our third next year to move up to 3. Giants accept that kind of deal. I don't know how exactly the pick situation, but just picture really nice draft haul. We're not getting another first, but we're getting a really nice package. They move up. They want Travis Hunter because they've loved, they've been all in on Colorado. They're another team that's been sending scouts to like all their games and practices. Carter goes 3. Patriots are sitting there at 4. They go offensive line. We got to protect Drake May. Jacksonville's sitting there at 5. They know they don't, pass rusher isn't necessarily a need for them. They go, hey, we're going to take Mason Graham. We'll take Tet. We'll take Will, depending on who the Patriots select. At offensive line in this scenario. The Jags. My God, I'm forgetting. I'm thinking Jacksonville, but I couldn't remember what their mascot was. The Jags are like, we'll take Membo because you guys took Campbell, and Carter just somehow falls to 6 again. But that's a crazy scenario. That's so unlikely. I had to justify in this, like, why wouldn't the Patriots just take Carter there at 4? So that's why I think
Mike Vrabel is not letting that man get past him. That's the only part about that. I'm like,
exactly.
Vrabel is not. He's not. I don't think Belichick would have did it either.
It would take some crazy dream scenario for that kind of thing to happen.
Or just take him at 3.
I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
Just take him at 3, and then there'd be no need for the scenario.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, if the Giants are sitting there at 3, and Carter and Ward Sanders goes 1, 2, sit there, take either Hunter or Carter. If it goes Carter Hunter, sit there, take Ward. That's just what I think. Yeah.
All right. Now you're gonna be. I am assuming you're gonna be on this live draft special with me, correct?
I have no idea. I haven't discussed
I don't
yet.
hear that. I need you to take some time and breathe. Think about it. Think about my question again and give me a different answer. Because I need you in the box and for more, if nothing else, for moral support in case something goes crazy. Because I don't know what to expect with this draft. This is going to be somebody's going to try to get up there to the top, or at least up in the first 5. I know somebody. I don't know who it is, but somebody's going to try this stunt It might be the Raiders.
Scenario might be the
Somebody's going to try it.
I for some reason I don't think anybody's talking about it, but the Saints.
They don't have enough. They don't have enough draft capital for this, man. They need picks, and they don't have any money.
They don't have any. They're a team that's gotten destroyed by void year push-offs. Oh my god. I'm praying the same thing happens to Philly, man. I am. All this void year. No, man. Let those cap hits hit, baby. Please.
Time for the empire to go down, right? I feel you, man.
They've been around 1 year too long.
I know that's right. I know that's right, brother. Yeah. You did it, man. The first episode's in the books, man. How's it feel?
Feels good, man. Again, you can tell I can keep going. We can make this a 3-hour pod if we wanted to.
I know I can. I got enough information for a 4-hour pod in here, but we're not doing that. This is good. It's good for us to have an hour. We can just kick it and go through all this stuff. It's fun, man. It's really fun, man. But I appreciate you so much, brother. This was fantastic, to say the least. This is better than what I expected, man. So I'm excited. Hope everybody kind of vibe with this and they enjoy what's coming out. But we're going to go ahead and shut this down, man. But we bleed blue, baby. We're excited about this draft, but we don't know how we going to sleep tonight. Talking about all these scenarios. It's blue, baby, all day long, every day, all day. You know what I mean? This is good, man. But I'm Mr. U. That's Jess. We out, man. Big Blue Lifers, man. All you guys that are down with Big Blue, hit us up. Come join the squad. Join the chat. Love to hear your thoughts on our New York Football Giants. We're out here, man. Have a good one.